Hello YouTube. If I sound winded, it's because I just jogged for a little bit, which is not something I usually do. Messed my hair up too, so I'm gonna have to put my hat back on as I do every video. But in this video, I'm gonna talk about something I think we need, and I think now we have a decent chance of getting it. In my last video that I uploaded, I talked about Berserk, the anime and the manga, and how it's getting a new anime. I think I talked about that, I'm sure I did, and how excited I was for it. So, in a completely, hopeful sort of way, I want to talk about how we need a Berserk game that is worth a damn, and it needs to be on PS4, PC, Xbox One. We need it. This is something we need to happen. Because also, I posted a video about this dog, I think, that follows me around when I go on walks sometimes. It's totally not my dog. He's like a neighbor's dog. He lives down the road from me, and I was just going on a walk, and he just follows me sometimes. And it's kind of agitating, but you know, because he gets up underneath my legs and he wants me to play with him, but I don't want to play with him because then he'll want to come follow me, you know. Anyway, Berserk, we need a game, and what I would suggest about a Berserk game, I would suggest a few things. First of all, the company to make it, I would suggest it be From Software, as in the guys that make Dark Souls. They make a few other games too, but you guys know Dark Souls. It's definitely their most popular game. And the reason I suggest this is because Miyazaki, the guy who is like the lead director, the guy who's the lead director for Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne, he did not have, I don't think he even touched Dark Souls 2, which explains as to why it's not as good. And maybe I'll make a video about that too, leading up to Dark Souls 3, about why Dark Souls 2 isn't that great. But that's another video for another time. But the reason is because Miyazaki is a giant, and it's super obvious. He's a big fan of Berserk. There's so many Berserk references, if you know what you're looking for. And if, I'll give an example. I'm sure more people have played Dark Souls than there have been people that read Berserk. So, you know the snake people, before you get to Honor Londo and Sen's Fortress, like the first enemies you fight in Sen's Fortress, they're like these snake people with the two swords. And then there's ones with like curved swords that shoot lightning. I'm not sure which Snake Man it is, but one of those two designs is the first enemy, kind of. The first demon that Guts kills in the manga, if I'm not mistaken. They look exactly like them. Just completely on point. I think he uses two swords too, if I'm not mistaken. And the pinwheel skeletons, not the boss, the pinwheel, the wheel skeletons that roll after you, they are directly from a chapter 2, which is not chapter 2, a chapter as well, where Guts is with Ishidro, which is like a little kid who wants to challenge him, I guess. He wants to be as cool as Guts, basically, one day. And he's following him, and then these wheel skeleton things attack Guts one night, because he gets attacked every night by demons. There's a few other things in particular that really strike out very obviously. One of them is in Bloodborne, the Hunter's Mark and the Bold Hunter's Marks, like the emblem in it that's kind of like it's like a line straight down, and then it has a little Yeah, is that how it is? Yeah, I think so. Basically, all you have to do, like, if it's shaped like this, you know, all you have to do to make it the curse mark from Berserk is just go. And then it's it. The dog was jumping on me. That's why I kind of, whatever. But yeah, just look up the Berserk brand, and you'll find it. And if you know the hunter's mark from Bloodborne, you'll be you won't be surprised so much as you'll be like, oh man, he was totally right. So that's why I think From Software is qualified. That, and it would really fit. Like, the Great Sword in Dark Souls 3, he said he made it. He said the way it works and like the mechanics behind it, he wanted you to feel like guts when you were using it. Which, you know, is a decent reason as to why you might want to, you know, want these guys behind it. Like, if you're making a weapon and you're like, I want this to feel like guts from Berserk, that's a pretty decent qualification, you know, if you want a class to feel like that. Also, the Dragon Slayer is just straight up in Dark Souls 2, and in Dark Souls 1, and I think Demons, the Great Sword is Guts' pre-Dragon Slayer sword, so, you know, it's very obvious. But, yeah. So, I would want, I don't know if I want like a thing by thing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I'd want the game to go. I don't know if I'd want it to be like a side story, or if I'd want it to follow the story of the manga and the game, or in the anime. I think either or would work really well. But I would want it to follow the entirety of the anime or manga if it did that, because, and that's where therein lies the problem, right? Is there's too many. There's a lot of chapters. It's like 300 something chapters, and they're long ass chapters. And there are they're not. It's not finished, right? Like, it's just straight up not done yet. It's I wouldn't say it's got a ways to go. He could end it very soon if he wanted to, because it's hitting a climactic point right now in the manga. But he put it on hiatus again due to the new anime coming out, which, like, if he just put it on hiatus, I would have been pissed off. But the fact that we're getting a new manga, or a new anime rather, you know, I kind of like, it's very melancholy feeling. But I wish he had waited like for 5 more chapters for that to happen, because like in 5 chapters we would know some big deal shit that's now gonna get put off for a few more months. But yeah, I would basically want the game to play a lot like Dark Souls, but maybe like a lot faster paced. I'd want it to be as fast paced as Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne is, because Guts moves very fast, even though he is using a big sword like the Dragon Slayer. He still is a very agile and dexterous man, which is the only reason why he's so good, because there's a lot of people that are just as destructive as Guts in the story, but they can't move as fast as them because they just focus on, you know, they wear like full plate mail, and Guts doesn't, you know, honestly, Guts doesn't wear like super heavy armor. It doesn't look like, at least. There's a car coming. Even in the his new armor that he gets in the manga, that I don't really want to spoil for anyone if you haven't read Berserk and if you know nothing about it. You know about it if you've seen the death battle with him and Nightmare by Screw Attack, but some cool ass armor. But it looks to be like mid heavy armor, you know. It's not like full plate or anything. It looks kind of like, you know, it's hard to describe, you know. It gives you like, you know, it looks like you can move around very easily in it. So I would say it's not very heavy armor, but it's like got magic properties, so, you know. But other than that, I won't say anything about it. It just looks badass. I hope in Dark Souls 3 we have an armor set that looks exactly like it, because I would be so excited. Any Dark Souls fans that haven't read Berserk, I'm going to give you a reason to right now, other than Miyazaki blatantly ripping it off at some points. So anything you think is cool in Dark Souls, it's probably in Berserk first. But Artorias, which is probably one of the cooler lore characters in Dark Souls, he's totally based on Guts for a number of reasons. First of all, like, Guts' spirit animal being a wolf, and Artorias as a wolf, and you fight Artorias, he has a broken arm, Guts is missing an arm. Artorias is like succumbing to corruption or something, and that's like a storyline in Berserk. You know, just a lot of things that are very, like, you could totally draw out parallels between them. And one of the poses Artorias makes is just straight up like a thing that Guts does. And the way he moves looks very similar to like how you can, like, when you put it into motion in your head, like, you know, when you read manga, how your brain auto-completes motions. You know what I'm trying to say. They move the same. But yeah, that's, God, just, if the game wasn't made by From Software, I'd want it to be made by Platinum Games, because, you know, they could make it work. They made things work in the past. I feel like they could do it justice. It just might be a little odd having a style meter in a game that's so dark, and that's where the problem lies with them. I have no question in my mind that they'd be able to do it. I just don't know if I'd really want them to. I'd rather From Software have the license, just because I just want to play as Guts, you know? There are at least 2 games that I know of, and they're both decent. One of them's on the Dreamcast, and in America it's called like Sword of the Berserker or something like that. Guts' Rage. And I watched the Let's Play on it, and it looks really cool, but, you know, it's just one of those things where I don't own a Dreamcast. A lot of people don't anymore, and I don't have a way of getting that game, you know? Like, if I could, I would, but I don't see it in my future. And there is some other Japan-only game on the PS3, or I think PS3, it might be on PS2. But it looks kind of cool, but I think it plays like a Dynasty Warriors game, kind of, like, you know, just a lot of stupid-ass mobs that stand around and get their asses kicked. Which is not what I would want from a new Berserk game. I would want it to play like, I would want enemies to be dangerous, and I would want Guts to be able to be fucked up, because he does get fucked up a lot. And the monsters and demons in Berserk are not, like, they're not weak. They're all very powerful, which is why I feel like the game would need to have, like, be very difficult. And, you know, it's like, I feel like I would want it to be similar to, you know what, I would want Platinum to do it, I think, because it would play like Devil May Cry. Probably, you know, and when you think about it like that, in terms of, like, you know, Dante has a great sword, and they probably, like, it would swing very similar, because Guts swings his they're like decently fast, but you would need to have the weight behind the sword, like you would in a Dark Souls game, because if Dragon Slayer doesn't feel good to swing, there's no point in playing the game. And you know, since combat needs to feel good more than it does need to look good. And that's a philosophy that the Souls series has taken up, and I really believe in that, because games need to feel good, not necessarily look good. But you know, I'm kind of running out of time, so I think I'm gonna end the video here. That's pretty much all I had to say. So, see y'all next time. Bye. Post in the comments what you think, by the way. Who would you want to make a Berserk game? Do you want a Berserk game? Have you even watched or read Berserk? You should. Yeah, other than that, bye.